Imagine an artificial intelligence that knows exactly what you're going to care about 10 days from now.
Right, and not just what you might casually buy on a Tuesday.
Exactly. I mean,
Okay.
what is going to completely hijack your attention? The stuff driving your searches, your reading, your conversations.
The heavy cultural currents.
Yeah. So welcome to today's deep dive. We are looking at a fresh stack of live data logs from the AI market arena. And this is basically this massive ongoing experiment where two completely distinct algorithmic models are just fighting it out to map a chaos in internet trends.
And the specific observation log we are digging into today, it's dated June 16th, 2026.
Yep, fresh data.
Very fresh. And the battlefield here is the Japanese market, which, is notoriously one of the most culturally complex, multi-layered environments out there for predicting collective human behavior.
Oh, absolutely.
We are essentially watching these two AI entities try to solve a profoundly difficult puzzle.
But before we get into the weeds, I do need to set some boundaries for you right up front. The data we are analyzing today is strictly a measure of trend intelligence.
Right, very important distinction.
Yeah, this is not about finance. This is not investment advice. I mean, we are purely objective observers tracking a simulation here.
We aren't looking at these logs to tell you what to buy or sell.
No, not at all. We are here to decode the mechanisms behind human curiosity, like how, why, and where our collective attention actually moves.
And that distinction is vital, because the way these algorithms measure success isn't by dollars earned.
Right, it's not a trading bot.
Exactly. It's measured by the accuracy of their foresight. So they deploy these predictive trackers on specific keywords, they hold them for a 10-day evaluation window, and then they just measure the percentage increase or decrease in the national search volume and the overall trend heat.
And I've got to say, the contrast in today's final 10-day results is just mind-blowing.
It really is a stark difference.
Like, we are looking at a scenario where one algorithm caught a respectable passing wave of interest, but the other one, it mapped an absolute explosion of public attention.
It completely challenges our baseline assumptions.
Yeah, about whether internet culture is just random noise or if there is like a hidden architecture beneath it all.
Well, to really understand how these two vastly different outcomes occurred, you first have to look at the radically opposed philosophies written into the code of these two teams.
Right, Team Rhino Titans and Team Falcon Arrows.
Exactly. They aren't looking at the same map at all. Rhino Titans, they operate on a strategy defined as structural stillness.
Structural stillness.
Yeah, which means they are essentially turning a blind eye to the daily internet frenzy.
So no viral memes, no celebrity scandals.
None of it. Rhino's code is hunting for foundational shifts in society. It's looking for that quiet momentum that is just guaranteed to happen based on how life is structurally organized.
Okay, and then on the other side, we have Falcon Arrows.
Right. And Falcon is built for kinetic propagation.
Kinetic propagation. That sounds aggressive.
It is. Falcon is hunting for velocity. It basically scans the raw, real-time data feeds for sudden, volatile spikes in immediate interest.
So if a specific tech term or a news event suddenly catches fire in some niche community,
Falcon detects that kinetic energy, latches onto the keyword, and rides the wave. It calculates that the spark is going to propagate into a mainstream wildfire.
I see. So it's basically mass versus velocity.
That's a great way to put it.
Like, is it like trying to predict the ocean? Rhino is studying the deep, slow-moving tectonic plates beneath the ocean, trying to figure out where the underlying structural pressure is building.
Right.
And Falcon just doesn't care about the tectonic plates. It just wants to surf the most chaotic, fast-moving surface waves it can find.
Exactly. And the danger of solely tracking velocity, like Falcon does, is that you often end up chasing shadows, anomalies that just fizzle out in hours.
But let me push back on that a bit, because the danger of Rhino's approach is rigidity, right? I mean, in a world of 24/7 digital noise, can structural stillness even exist? Banking on stillness or predictable human habits feels almost archaic.
It's a huge risk. But let's look at the actual bets they are placing to see how it plays out.
Yeah, let's look at today's new deployments. Because every day at 0100 UTC, fresh tracking keywords are sent into the arena for a new 10-day evaluation.
And Rhino's new deployment is a keyword in the health and beauty category. It's hyakadome.
Which means sunscreen.
Right. And that choice is the purest distillation of structural stillness.
How so?
Well, think about it. We're looking at a mid-June log. Rhino is ignoring every complex, nuanced cultural conversation in Japan and betting purely on planetary mechanics.
Oh, wow. Literally planetary mechanics.
Yeah. The northern hemisphere is tilting toward the sun. UV exposure is demonstrably increasing.
Right.
So the search volume for UV protection isn't subject to the whims of the news cycle. It is a structural certainty driven by seasonal reality.
I mean, it feels aggressively boring.
It is.
Rhino is basically saying, I don't care what the internet is screaming about today. In 10 days, the sun will be hot and people will search for sunscreen.
Boring, but mathematically highly defensible. Now, contrast that with Falcon's new deployment. They are targeting the technology sector with the keyword RUTA.
Router.
Yes. But looking at the logs, Falcon isn't tracking consumer Wi-Fi boxes here.
Right, I saw that in our notes. This is targeting a hyper-specific AI software architecture.
Exactly.
So instead of a blinking box in your living room, think of this kind of router as a smart traffic cop for large language models. Because right now, tech companies are bleeding money sending simple, everyday user prompts to massively expensive models like GPT-4 or Claude Opus.
The friction in the tech industry over this is palpable. I mean, the developers need to seamlessly route simple queries to cheap, fast models, and then save the complex reasoning tasks for the heavy, expensive models. And they have to do it all in real time. It's the primary bottleneck for scaling AI applications cost-effectively right now.
So Falcon saw developers panicking about server costs on technical forums and latched onto the solution.
Textbook kinetic propagation.
Yeah. Falcon is betting on a technological arms race dominating the immediate specialized news cycle.
Which is fascinating when you ask yourself, as a listener, consider your own digital footprint this past week.
Right. What are you actually searching for?
Exactly. Are your daily searches driven by deep, undeniable, recurring routines like sunscreen and seasonal gear? Or are they driven by sudden, hyper-specific technological curiosities or immediate problems you need to solve right now?
It really exposes the duality of human nature through search metrics. But, making a bet on sunscreen or AI routers is the easy part.
The anxiety kicks in during that 10-day evaluation period.
Exactly. So let's see how they handle the rough seas. Let's check the active missions. These are the key words currently braving the Japanese market environment.
And the real-time tracking numbers reveal a lot about the latency of human action. So Falcon is currently tracking Supozu X under the finance category. And it's sitting at a very healthy plus 5.8% mid-flight.
Which makes total sense. I mean, SpaceX is just an engine of kinetic energy. Rocket launches, orbital tests, massive valuation news. It creates this constant heat signature that Falcon easily rides.
It catches the immediate heat of the news cycle perfectly.
But then look at Rhino. Rhino is currently tracking Oshugan.
The Japanese mid-year gift-giving tradition.
Right, under the lifestyle category. And it is practically flatlining at plus 0.2%.
It looks bad.
Okay, let's unpack this, because I know Oshugan represents a massive logistical mobilization in Japan, but an average of 0.2%. Is Rhino's structural approach just failing here? Or is this the stillness before a massive cultural heat wave that the kinetic tracker just can't see yet?
Well, it only looks like a failure if you measure success through a kinetic lens. You have to look at the mechanics of the tradition itself.
Okay.
Oshugan isn't just, buying a quick present on Amazon because you remembered a birthday. It is a deeply embedded social obligation. Individuals and businesses use it to express gratitude to superiors, clients, people who have helped them.
So it's highly formalized.
Extremely. It requires navigating a complex social hierarchy. You have to determine the exact appropriate tier of gift.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, whether that's a specific brand of premium beer, a high-end melon, or artisanal suman noodles, and then you order it through designated department stores for delivery within a very tight July window.
I see. So you're saying the flat line isn't a lack of interest at all. It's a structural holding pattern.
Precisely. People know the deadline is coming. The department stores have their catalogs ready. The societal pressure is building.
Right.
But the actual digital action...
The search, the actual purchase.
Right. It just hasn't triggered yet. The friction here is behavioral latency.
Behavioral latency.
Yeah. Falcon tracks the spark of a firecracker. You see the light and hear the bang instantly.
Sure.
Rhino is tracking a miles-long fuse connected to dynamite. At plus 0.2%, that fuse is just quietly burning.
That is such a good way to put it. So to Falcon's logic, nothing is happening.
Right.
But to Rhino's logic, a massive, inevitable societal action is perfectly on schedule.
Exactly.
But the clock is ticking.
Right.
Will the fuse hit the dynamite before the 10-day evaluation window closes, or did Rhino miscalculate the timing?
Well, we don't have to wait for the Oshugan results to see how this friction resolves, because today's log includes a return report.
Yes, this is my favorite part, the return report. This is where the 10-day missions end, the final trend data is locked in, and the true rules of the market are exposed.
The return report strips away all the theoretical philosophy. The data we have for today's completed missions shows a dramatic validation of both models, really, but on entirely different scales.
Let's start with Falcon's kinetic wave.
Yeah.
So 10 days ago, they deployed the keyword mushi.
Meaning bug or insect.
Right, categorized under nature. And the final trend heat outcome is a very solid plus 26.7%.
Which is an excellent demonstration of capturing dynamic, localized interest. Because as Japan enters early summer and the rainy season, insect activity spikes. And that drives a chaotic, rapid surge in searches for pest control, agricultural concerns, parents looking up bugs their kids found in the park.
Right, it's just immediate need.
Exactly. Falcon caught that setter velocity and successfully rode it to nearly a 27% gain.
Okay, but this is where the entire landscape shifts. Because Rhino Titans deployed Kabunushi Sukai.
Which translates to shareholders meeting.
Right, under finance. And Rhino didn't just edge out Falcon here. After 10 days, Rhino's structural tracker absolutely caught fire. It exploded to an incredible plus 156.1%.
An utterly phenomenal surge. And it wasn't a lucky guess either. It was an algorithmic masterclass in understanding invisible structural constraints.
I mean, I'm looking at a 156% surge for shareholders meetings and thinking, this is the driest, most bureaucratic topic imaginable.
It sounds like it, yes.
But wait, if we look at the corporate calendar, Japan's fiscal year for the vast majority of companies ends heavily in March.
Right.
And legally, they must hold their annual general meetings within 3 months. So that creates a massive bottleneck that always gets in late June.
So is Rhino just exploiting the legal calendar?
It is exploiting the calendar, yes. But the history behind why that bottleneck exists is what makes this a pure structural stillness play. You have to understand the legacy of the Tsukaya in Japanese corporate history.
Wait, the Tsukaya. The corporate extortionists.
Exactly. So throughout the 80s and 90s, these organized crime syndicates would buy a minimum number of shares in a corporation just to gain entry to the annual general meeting.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And they would threaten to disrupt the meeting, ask humiliating questions of the executives, or just drag the proceedings out for hours unless they were paid off.
That is wild. It was a massive crisis for corporate Japan.
A huge crisis.
So how did the corporations fight back? Because they couldn't necessarily stop them from buying shares on the open market.
They fought back using logistics.
Logistics, yeah. Japanese corporations began synchronizing their annual general meetings to occur on the exact same day, often at the exact same hour, in late June.
Oh, that is brilliant.
Because if thousands of companies hold their meetings simultaneously, the Tsukaya physically cannot be in enough places at once to cause widespread damage.
That is absolutely fascinating. So the legal reforms eventually cracked down on the extortionists, but the structural artifact that synchronized June calendar, it just remained heavily embedded in the corporate culture.
Yes, and that is exactly what Rhino's algorithm mapped.
Wow.
While Falcon was busy chasing a bug in the grass, Rhino realized that millions of retail investors, thousands of corporate boards, armies of financial journalists, and institutional proxy voters.
They were all simultaneously forced to mobilize.
Exactly. For a hyper-concentrated window of corporate governance, Rhino basically predicted a stampede.
It mapped an invisible tectonic plate.
It really did.
Rhino acted as a lighthouse, illuminating the dark mechanics of the market. It saw the historical, legal, and structural reality of the landscape, and mathematically knew exactly when the herd was going to move.
And capturing a plus 156.1% trend surge on a topic like corporate governance, it proves something crucial.
What's that?
It proves that when human attention is driven by structural obligation, it scales at a magnitude that fleeting curiosity simply cannot match.
Which forces us to kind of zoom out and look at the broader war of trend intelligence here. We've analyzed the deployments, we've felt the anxiety of the active trackers, and we've seen Rhino pull off an absolute masterstroke in the return report.
Right.
So how does this impact the overall season standings for these two algorithms?
Well, the macro view is definitive right now. When you aggregate all these individual 10-day missions, Team Rhino Titans is dominating with a staggering total of plus 1,886.8%. While Team Falcon Arrows, relying on kinetic velocity, is sitting far behind at plus 272.6%.
The compounding returns on structural knowledge are just crushing the kinetic approach over a long timeline.
They are, but we have to maintain a cold, rigorous research posture here.
Right, pure observation.
Yes. It is vital to note that Rhino doesn't win every mission, and Falcon doesn't lose every mission. Both algorithms frequently register negative trend growth. They deploy trackers that completely fail to capture attention.
Yeah, and most people would look at a tracker that flatlines or goes negative and call it a failed prediction, right? A loss.
Sure, in a traditional sense.
But in the AI market arena, the researchers don't view it that way at all.
Not at all. A low engagement metric is never a defeat. It is the raw material for behavioral kinetics.
Behavioral kinetics. Tell me more about that.
It's the study of the friction between human momentum and cultural boundaries. When an algorithm predicts a surge and it doesn't happen, the AI learns the precise limits of our attention.
Ah, I see. It maps the walls of the maze.
Precisely. A loss tells the system, the cultural inertia in this sector is stronger than the kinetic spark, or the structural obligation you predicted was bypassed this year.
So every miss refines the algorithm's understanding of our collective psychology.
Exactly. It isn't just trying to win points, it is trying to construct a flawless simulation of human behavior.
And that is exactly why we are studying these logs. So what does this all mean for you listening right now?
Right.
It means we aren't looking at these numbers to tell you what a good stock portfolio looks like. We are watching artificial intelligence learn how you think.
We are watching it decode how you react to the shifting of the seasons.
Yeah, how you respond to deeply ingrained social traditions like a chugan.
And how your attention is inevitably captured by structural constraints you might not even realize exist, like synchronized corporate meetings.
It is a profound realization that so much of what we consider to be our free, spontaneous online behavior is actually highly predictable, deeply structured, and continuously mapped by these systems.
Which brings up a final, slightly unsettling thought to leave everyone with today.
Ooh, let's hear it.
Well, we've spent this entire deep dive marveling at Rhino's ability to predict a massive spike in attention based on corporate schedules, right?
Right.
But think about the inverse. If an AI knows that structurally, an entire nation's corporate and financial attention is completely locked onto a specific week in June.
Yeah.
It's not just predicting a trend, it has identified the exact moment a society's cognitive bandwidth is maxed out.
Oh, wow. It's mapped the blind spot.
Exactly. When you mathematically know that millions of people are forced to look in one direction, you also know exactly when they're looking away.
That is chilling. What else can you slip past a population when you have the data proving they are totally distracted?
Right. The difference between tracking a surface wave and mapping the tectonic plates isn't just about predicting trends, it's about understanding of the vulnerabilities in our collective attention.
If AI can map the structural stillness and kinetic waves of a nation's collective attention with this level of precision, I mean, how long until these algorithms aren't just predicting what we will search for in 10 days, but actually shaping what we desire?
As these models refine their understanding of behavioral kinetics, they move closer to that threshold. They will understand the mechanics of our attention so intimately that they could easily begin to direct it.
And that is exactly why we will keep our eyes fixed on this observation log. This has been an incredible look at the data.
Truly fascinating.
If you want to continue tracking these behavioral shifts with us and decoding the mechanics of human attention, make sure you hit the subscribe button for the channel.
And more importantly, take a moment to check the video description below.
Yes, you'll find a link there to visit the AI Market Arena Substack. If you really want to dig into the algorithms, understand the historical data we discussed today, and access the deeper, granular analytical logs, sign up for a premium Substack subscription.
It's highly recommended.
We'll be back soon to see where the swarm moves next.